Okay, morning, folks. Welcome to the briefing on Thursday, the 17th. I've put the overnight chart up just to show you how quickly this sort of frontal system here and low pressure is beginning to roll in towards us. And that's the movement in sort of 12 hours. We're in this sort of what the BBC will call a transient ridge of high pressure. I'd just call it a sort of gap between the fronts, to be honest, with a slight bit of anticyclonic curvature, which means hopefully it'll damp down any shower activity. You can see the isobars, they're not tightly spaced, but they are close enough together to give us a reasonable headwind today from the southwest. The TAFs are indicating there's Farnborough, and it's only got sort of 5 items on it, so it must be fine. It's saying between 9 and 1800, 200 degrees, 8 knots, and 10k vis and few at 3,000 feet. So reasonable forecast. The Gatwick and Heathrow ones a bit bigger because they go for 24 hours. So they'll actually show you what's going to happen overnight and early in tomorrow. So you can see from tempo onwards, midnight tonight, it's getting 15 gusting 25. And then you're starting to see increasing again, 17 gusting 27 with the rain that's associated with the cold front that's coming in. And then tomorrow morning, rain and drizzle just to start off with. But the wind doesn't really die down tomorrow by the looks of it. The upper winds today, which are the important one for us because we're winch launching 220 degrees, 25 knots. So not quite down runway 23, which is where we're going to be operating, but more or less. SatPic doesn't really show you a lot. These white blobs down here we'll look at in a second because they are showers in the channel, but I think that's where they're going to stay. But it's relatively clear over the southern half of the UK. The rainfall radar shows these showers tracking along the channel. I don't think they're going to affect us at all. We might see them to the south, but fingers crossed we won't actually see a shower today with that little sort of anticyclonic curvature keeping those at bay, really. Top Meteo are giving the same sort of picture. Southwesterly wind. This is the 30-foot wind, so they're talking about 10 to 12 knots. And it stays the same for most of the day, maybe 15 knots later in the day. And as the afternoon comes along, you start to see the stronger winds come in from the west. But I think that'll be overnight rather than what we're going to see this afternoon. Cloud amounts. Fairly clear for most of the day. It'll be quite nice. We'll see the beginnings of the frontal systems approaching in the distance probably when we're packing the gliders away this evening. Okay, so weather forecast, nice day, southwesterly winds, not too strong. Should be nice all day. In terms of airspace and operational, well, airspace, there's very little. I've just left these ones here. These are the danger areas at Salisbury Plain, and they've shut them down from tomorrow. And normally they shut them down for a week at Christmas, but it seems to be 2 weeks this year. So they're obviously all going on holiday for a couple of weeks. So there's no danger area crossing service, and they've been lowered to 3,000 feet. Apart from that, nothing going on in our area that we know of. Operationally, as I say, we're on 2-3. We'll have the launch point vehicle a little bit further forward than where it's shown on this photograph, but more or less in the same position in relation to the distance from the edge of the runway. We'll have the cables down the eastern side of 2-3, winch gliders there, then the launch point vehicle, and aero towing just off the edge of the grass on 2-3 here. Should be all right. The northern side grass should be okay. Obviously, there's been a lot of rain recently, and there will be some stud wet areas on the airfield, but that generally tends to be either down in this area here, this area over here where we launch on 2.7 on the grass in the summer, and right down here. Not to say you shouldn't land there if you need to, please do. Circuit wise, if you're circuiting round to the left, which is down this side, land on 2.7 hard. Eliminate the sort of use of the grass. And if you're circuiting to the right, just land 2.3. That'll avoid deconfliction. There will be possibly jets parked on the end of the runway, but there's also a number of movements taking place today. So I'm just going to put up on the screen the list of jet movements as notified this morning. So we've had Navajos already, a couple of those before 11 o'clock. We've got an Airbus A319, which is eventually going to America via Iceland, an A320 departure to be advised, and then late afternoon, another couple of Navajos, 1500 and 1530. I'm sure that's a very fluid picture.
11 o'clock is on time.
Is on, yeah. It went on time last time.
And a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So there we go, folks. Busy day of movements, but we're on 2.3, so it shouldn't cause us too much disruption. Possible jet parking on the end of the runway between that as they shuffle around in the 2EE complex. Okay, so see you out there. We'll get the gliders out and get flying and enjoy the day.